Shit. Oh, this is why I haven't done a campaign diary recently. Guys, it's your boy back again with another campaign diary for the Troll School Club, our weekly, semi-weekly, whenever we get the chance and time and life available to do it, Dungeons and Dragons game. I'm combining two sessions in one here. A, because the sessions kind of ran into each other, and B, because it took a long time to make the videos. But anyway, our intrepid adventurers at Troll School Club have been on an adventure in the Underdark, trying to figure out information about one of the party members' missing family. They've been making their way through these Dorgar mining camps, this mining operation, on their way to the city of Emberfell, which is the hub of black market and trade within the Underdark, essentially, and a little bit of the world above as well. The characters had cleared out part of this cavern that they've been processing through, and were continuing their way straight into another encounter. This one was interesting because characters have gotten really good at fighting Duergar. They've been fighting a lot of Duergar. So this was a little bit different though. I had, 3 Duergar Stone Guards, 1 Duergar Hammer, which is a construct, a being that is used basically in mining and operations like that. And then there was a Duergar Warlord that he's a nasty dude, nasty guy. And so that combat went really well from my perspective. It was the main section I knew of this session was going to take was this combat because I didn't pull any punches. You know, let me just hold on, get my stats out. Boop 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 boop. AC 20, hit points 75. Duergar Resilience, obviously advantage on saving throws against poison spells and illusions, as well as resistant to being charmed or paralyzed. Sunlight sensitivity, of course, because being a being of the Underdark. Actions, multi-attack. The Duergar makes 3 hammer or javelin attacks and uses call to attack or enlarge if it's available. It's Psychic Attuned Hammer, which is the thing that was doing the most damage during this session. Plus 7 to hit, 1d10 plus 4 bludgeoning damage, or 2d10 plus 4 bludgeoning damage while enlarged, plus 1d10 psychic damage. So that's the thing, is that these Duergar and these creatures were prepared for the party. They had heard them coming, they knew they were on their way. Those dudes enlarged, so he was doing 2d10 plus, essentially, if I read it correctly, 3d10. Yeah, 2 of it bludgeoning, 1 of it psychic damage. So if he hits all 3 multi attacks, he's doing on average 20 points of damage per attack if he hits. And you know, these are 7th level adventurers. Not all of them, not the entire party. The main party, 7th level. The NPCs are a little bit lower level, but he was no joke. And sadly, our swashbuckler rogue, Rainier Neverember, was, he got up close, because that's really the swashbuckler's game, is that you get in, you make an attack, and then you run. That's the idea, at least. However, it didn't really work out as well as he thought, because Rainier kind of just stayed and got hit with those 3 multi-attacks. Bam, 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 all 3 hit. Was knocked unconscious after the first 2, so the 3rd one hit, automatic crit, automatic fail, death saves. So the players immediately knew, oh shit, okay, this warlord is bad news. However, I knew that the party was going to be okay. I was fine with throwing the warlord and all of the other elements in there, because they're a pretty big party, and they've also, they've got 2 multi-class clerics, so they have a lot of options available to them for healing and other sorts of things. I mean, Rainier, I don't think we even had to make another death save for him, because our sorcerer cleric, Quick, she rushed in, got him back up, and used the warlord's attack of opportunity to get Rainier out of there. So it was a pretty simple. And there was one spell, one clutch spell that really just saved the party's asses, to speak bluntly. Spirit Guardians. Bryn, our monk cleric, high elven monk cleric of Selûne, the goddess, cast Spirit Guardians, and every creature that was in the radius failed the death saves. I don't think I won that had saved on that, and so the majority of the damage being done to that warlord was from Spirit Guardian. So it was a clutch spell. I think it really saved them because, I mean, the players really don't have too much problem hitting 20 armor class, which is why I didn't feel bad about throwing the warlord at them, because a lot of them have +8s. A lot of them have magic weapons and items, and so they have some pretty high attack bonuses. So hitting the 20 isn't super difficult as long as they don't roll poorly. But that's the fun part of the game, though, is that sometimes you roll like crap and you aren't able to get any hits in. So that combat went really well, though. It went exactly. I wanted the warlord to feel like a threat, and he did. And that's just been something I've been learning, is balancing encounters and making bad guys feel like threats without just being like, all right, here's fucking 12th level magic user who has not just throwing a high CR bad guy at them, but narratively making it make sense, and using abilities like the Dorgar Warlord's call to attack ability, where he can basically he gives a shout and a yell, and his troops around him get a free action or a free attack, basically. So that was also a very interesting maneuver. It's fun to as a DM, I getting to play with the bad guys and their special abilities. Some battles I don't get to play with the special abilities at all, and they just mop the floor with them. So it's fun when I get to have a little bit of fun that way. So they defeat all these bad guys. I have Quick roll a wisdom saving throw. She didn't know if she succeeded or failed. She had no idea what it was about. That's one of my. I love doing secret rolls as a dungeon master. It was for me, and I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to think about how I'm gonna do this in the future, because essentially Quick was scryed on. Quick was being scryed on by her wife, who is also in the Underdark, who Quick has been searching for. Players aren't exactly sure why she's not, just come and found them. The one time Quick and Aurora, her wife, did run into each other, Aurora just booked it and ran and dimension doored and got out of there. Quick has some ideas, some inklings that obviously Aurora is not 100% healthy, having been in the Underdark for 5 years, and that she's obviously dealing with a lot of stuff. And when they ran into her, Aurora kept on saying, this is a trick, this is a game, this is stop messing with my head. And so obviously something's been going on with her in the 5 years that she's been down in the Underdark. But I love roles like that. Sometimes it's fun to just say, hey, make this roll, and there's just to keep people on their toes, but also because it's fun to be the dungeon master and know things that other people don't know, because that's part of the excitement about doing it. So Aurora scryed on Quick and was able to get some more information, so that she can make a decision about what's actually happening. Because Aurora's been off doing her own thing in the Underdark, and Quick doesn't know what that is, or how she came about these new arcane abilities or anything like that. So it's, the idea is as a dungeon master, trying to make the world living and moving even without the party members. While the party's doing one thing, stuff is still going on and stuff is still happening. And that's one of my favorite parts, is behind the scenes, getting to play out my own little game in my head for what's going on. It's fun. It's really exciting. So the players take a short rest. Interesting enough, they took a short rest, not a long rest. I was curious about that. I thought they were going to take a long rest because they'd been a little beaten up and they'd used some of their resources, but no. Party said, we're taking a short rest. I even tried to insinuate trying to be helpful, because they have a new ally, a white dragonborn by the name of Mara, a divination wizard, which has been very fun to play with. I love her a lot. She's a great NPC. She's like my cat's a great NPC in these videos. Hold on. There we are. Oh, okay. but Mara is, I had her be like, hey, I can cast an alarm spell over the entrance to this mine shaft that is seems to be the next section of area that we're going. And I was trying to insinuate to the party like, hey, take a long rest, guys. Like, you have an alarm spell there. Like, you'll be okay. I mean, who knows if you'll actually be okay? But I was trying to insinuate to the party. I don't know if they don't trust, maybe didn't trust me, or maybe they just felt that they didn't want to waste time, and so they're like, we're taking a short rest. So they took a short rest. Then they headed off further into the mine shafts. They found these. Essentially, if you've ever been to the Walt Disney World, there's a ride called the Barnstormer. That is what this is, or a Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. It's basically, I said, they're mine carts, and they go down into the shaft. You can ride in them, and essentially we did a little roller coaster sequence. It was fun. I had some levity. They were just going through these tunnels, but they were making a lot of noise, and they alerted a nearby purple worm, and that was where the first session ended. Purple worm bursting through one of the walls of the cavern right behind the party's last minecart. And we picked up on that in the second session. And I know I literally just said, I don't want to just throw high CR monsters at them and see what happens. This was fun because I did not want this to be a combat. I did not want to be sitting there for 2 hours and going, no, that doesn't hit. No. No. Okay, that hits. Yeah. Okay, roll damage. I did not want to sit through the 240 something hit points that the purple worm has while they're in the minecart, because the idea is that I wanted it to be an Indiana Jones movie. I wanted it to be an action adventure. I wanted it to be The Mummy. You're on a minecart, you're speeding, there is a purple worm and it is gaining on you. What are you going to do? And so it was kind of combat that then evolved into a skill challenge. The first couple of turns, players tried to, our paladin, Sundry, the big beefy boy, tried to use his long sword to attack, and he didn't hit. There was another, Bryn, these last two sessions, Bryn, our monk cleric of Selûne, has been very clutch. Bryn cast, I believe it was Shield of Faith on Sundry, our paladin, who was by himself in the last cart. So essentially, Sundry was going to be dealing with the purple worm the most because he was the last cart in their little row. Making Sundry's AC with that Shield of Faith spell 20. I rolled, and let me consult my stats. He has a plus 14 to hit, and if the target is a large or smaller creature, it must succeed on a DC 19 dexterity saving throw or be swallowed by the worm. I rolled, attacking Sundry, the person who is by himself in the last cart of these mining carts. And adding it all together was a 19 to hit, and it just missed only because our cleric could cast that spell on the paladin. If he had not cast that spell, Sundry's dex is not great. So they would have literally probably had to roll a natural 19 or a natural 20 to succeed on the dexterity saving throw. So if they had been on these minecarts moving and one of their party had gotten swallowed, things would have gone downhill quickly. So they got very lucky. And essentially, I was like, okay, at this point, you can, I was just like, you as the players and the characters, you get the situation that you're in, and you guys can kind of understand that you're not going to be able to feasibly attack this thing because it is gaining on them. Because I basically mapped it out that the purple worm speed is a little bit faster than the minecart speed. So they had the advantage because they were ahead of the purple worm. But a purple worm can take a dash action. A minecart can't. And so that was the situation that they're finding themselves in. I'm like, okay, obviously you could tell, Sundry can tell, like, he's not doing any damage to this thing. how are you going to get away? And that's where we transition to the skill challenge. And I love skill challenges. They're something from I think 4th edition, where essentially there's a DC of like, all right, you need 3 successes before you get 3 failures. You can use your proficient skills, your spells, your abilities. What is your character going to use in this situation to get yourselves out of it? You know, and I love that idea of the players playing into their characters, their roles, and like, what am I good at? What is my character canonically good at? So we had Harvey Birdman, whoosh, Aarakocra Rogue. Use sleight of hand to disconnect the last minecart and send it towards the purple worm to give themselves some more speed, and to hopefully distract it. However, because Sundra was in the last cart, we had to make an athletics check for Sundra. He failed that check, but the characters did have a reaction to assist with that and assist with him. We're able to catch him and bring him into their cart, so they were lucky that way. And one of the party members used perception or survival, one of those, to figure out if there were any other paths, that they get, any other railings that they could move the carts, kind of go off and maybe go off on a different section of the tunnel. They succeeded in that one and saw another exit, but they decided not to take that one, which I thought was interesting. And then the last thing they decided to do was they noticed that there were wooden pillars kind of holding up and creating the interior of this mine shaft, kind of holding up the walls. So they broke the pillars and created a cave-in, which then turned into a second skill challenge of, all right, you just created a fucking cave-in. How are you gonna get out of here? And that's where there was a lot of fun of just like, all right, I'm going to use my shield to block off any debris that's falling on us. I'm going to use, there was something that I had ruled that I made a ruling. I was just like, all right, Mara is going to try and use Lehman's Tiny Hut. Mara, the White Dragonborn Wizard. Lehman's Tiny Hut's not a spell that it's a stationary orb though. So basically I had her, cast it, and then so that the rocks would kind of slide off of them. I thought it looked cool and it was an interesting visual. How I described it was, though, that the orb was moving with them, but Lehman's Tiny Hut is a stationary thing. It's not a Roomba, that follows the party or the wizard around and shields them. So that was a rolling that in the moment I didn't think too much about. That later on I'm like, okay, obviously that's not how that spell works. But I did have her roll an Arcana check, and I rolled for Mara because I play that character. But so I rolled, and I rolled high enough to beat my own DC, and I was like, okay, she's using a spell in a way that's not 100% intended, but is able to, because it was a cool moment too. So they're able to shoot out of the exit of this mining shaft, caving it in behind them, their carts falling over them, stumbling out, and right into what seemed to be this army that was awaiting. Players instantly are on edge. They see Duergar, they see hobgoblins, kobolds, some drow. They see all these different types of people, and they seem like they're ready to fight. And then a Duergar walks up to them. He's in this heavy plate armor, and he introduces himself as Hjulrik Falk, which my players love, because one of the fun things about being a dungeon master is making up NPC names that your players are never gonna get and not spell right at all, and it's gonna be great watching them trying to butcher the name constantly. But Hjulrik introduced himself, and he basically, this was like the Star Wars moment, where it's like, welcome to the rebellion, and there are a group of people, denizens in the Underdark, who do not agree with the Duergar occupation of Emberfell. And it's not just the Duergar have taken over the city. There is a sect of Duergar who are enslaving people and running the city and treating people badly. And it's a group of Duergar. They're under the rule of Lord Gwar Doomfist, which Hjulrik remarks is, it's funny It was fun that the players chose this route because if you remember further back, I'd given the characters multiple paths to get to the city of Emberfell. There was through the Molten Rivers, there's through the caves of the followers of Lolth, the Spider Queen, and there was through the Duergar mining camps. The only way they were going to meet the rebellion was if they had chosen the Duergar mining camps. So it's just fun on my perspective, just being like, wow, you guys really lucked themselves into a situation, because I told them that that the mining camps is going to be more combat heavy and it was going to be more dangerous. But it gives a bigger reward because now they have met the rebellion, and they've also delivered to the rebellion the last remaining member of the previous rulers of the family of the previous rulers of Emberfell. Lyja Shadlov, the Drow barbarian girl that's been with them, is the last remaining member of the house that used to run the city of Emberfell. And so essentially, Hiorik, who's the leader of this rebellion, he used to be the blacksmith to her family. And so he gets to reunite with her, they get to have a touching moment, and he gets to basically say, look, this is your army, we're here to take back your city. You with us? And so it's very exciting because things are moving, things are happening. The players, the party all follows the rebellion back to their base of operations, gets introduced to some different players and some different people within the rebellion, and now they're basically ready to, they take a long rest, they go to sleep, and the next session they get to start to make their move. I forgot one last thing. Harvey Birdman Whoosh, our Aarakocra rogue, had a visit in his dreams from an emissary of the Nine Hells. Anyone remembers, Harvey had previously made a deal with an emissary of Asmodeus to essentially send 100 souls to the Nine Hells in return for in payment for the Castellanter children's souls. So back during Waterdeep Dragon Heist, they had found out that Amalia and Victorio Castellanter had sold their children's souls to Asmodeus. And Harvey made a deal to basically negate that, to send Amalia and Victorio to the Nine Hells, save their children, and also promise to send 100 souls to the Nine Hells. So every bad guy or villain that dies by Harvey's hand, the branded number of his arm goes down, and that's a soul that's sent to the Nine Hells. So he gets visited in his dreams, and the emissary's just basically like, hey, good job, you've been doing great, we've been, you've been sending a bunch of people to us recently, and we've put them on the front lines in the Blood War, so that's been awesome. We obviously keep track of all our clients and everyone who has a deal with us, and we see that you're in a position to help us get a major win in the Blood War. In the Forgotten Realms and D&D kind of mythology, demons and devils are in a never-ending battle with each other, because devils are lawful evil, while demons are chaotic evil, and so they're two different forces constantly fighting each other. And basically, this emissary from the Nine Hells says, "You're going to the city of Emberfell. There is a black market auction happening in 2 days. At this auction, there is an item that the demons are very interested in. It's inside of a black box with a screaming face, like grafted onto it. We want you to go to the auction, get this item, and we will get it, and we will collect it, and we will take off 10 souls from your dead." So Harvey agrees to this, and basically it's just like, okay, so how am I supposed to, what do you want me to, do you want me to kill these people? What do you want me to do? And basically the Nine Hells send him a sack or a satchel full of soul coins, which are kind of the new currency in the Nine Hells, and also basically a medallion that shows that Harvey is there on official Nine Hells business, basically giving him free passage to the auction house, or to the auction, admittance into the auction. And basically Harvey's told, hey, there's going to be, obviously we're sending you there, the demons are going to be sending somebody there as well. you either buy this thing through the auction, or you wait to see who buys it and then you kill them afterwards and take it. We don't care how you do it, just you need to get it. If you don't get it, there will be some consequences. And essentially, that they will add souls to his debt if he's not able to retrieve this. So it's a very exciting thing. My favorite thing about, even though this is a very quick, heavy story arc of, finding out about what her family's been doing in the Underdark and where they're going and everything, I try to tie in what's going on with the other characters into the events, so that so Harvey's still dealing with his deal with the Nine Hells. Bryn has been trying to understand their position as a cleric of Selûne and how they're supposed to help people. And so it's been an interesting ride to see all these characters kind of doing this stuff, and I'm very excited for the city of Emberfell because I have a lot of notes in this city I've built from the ground up, and all the different districts and the different shops and people who are there and kind of the culture of the city. And so I'm very excited, especially for the auction house, because I'm a sucker for those types of, all right, let's all get gussied up, let's all dress nice, and let's go somewhere where everyone's on edge but no one's allowed to do anything. So it's going to be very exciting to see like all the big wigs in the Underdark at this black market auction, and it'll be fun to kind of decide and choose what items will be available at the auction. And hey, I mean, he has a job to buy with the soul coins to buy this item, but they also have a lot of money of their own, so they might find something of interest there as well. So that's basically these two sessions all wrapped together in one. They did literally go into one another, because it was like last session, the session before was Enter the Purple Worm, and then immediately the next session picked up Purple Worm Attack. So they do feed into each other, and I'm very excited because we're coming to the climax where we're in the rising action. We're getting there. The characters have met the members of the rebellion. They have a way to get to the city of Emberfell. There's opportunity there for Quick to learn what's happening with her family, and opportunity there for Harvey to figure out what's going on with his, try to fix that deal that he made, and try to complete that. And they also have the opportunity to help liberate a city and return it back to its rightful owners. So it'll be very exciting to see where things go, and I'm super pumped. And everyone's been doing really good. The players have just been really great, and just playing along, obviously, but just playing their characters and the backstories that they've been giving to me, and just really giving me a lot to work with. So I'm very excited. I love the Underdark. I love the city of Emberfell that I created, and I can't wait for the players to get there, so that I can feel like all that work was for something. Anyway, I will catch you on the flip side later.